At 4 a.m., while most of the world sleeps, two armies stare at each other across a strip of land so tense that even birds hesitate to cross it. On one side, loudspeakers once blasted propaganda so powerful it echoed through the mountains. On the other, skyscrapers glow, stock markets open, and pop music trends worldwide. This is not a movie scene. This is the Korean Peninsula, where North and South Korea face each other every single day, locked in one of the most dramatic power rivalries on Earth. To understand this rivalry, imagine two brothers raised in the same house, speaking the same language, sharing the same history, but growing into completely different worlds. In 1953, after a brutal war that killed millions, Korea was split in two. No peace treaty was ever signed. Technically, the war never ended. What followed was not just a political division, but a total transformation of identity, power, and destiny. North Korea chose isolation. South Korea chose integration. And today, their power comparison is one of the most fascinating contrasts in modern history. North Korea's power feels mysterious, secretive, and unpredictable. It does not show its strength through wealth or global influence, but through fear and uncertainty. With an army of over 1 million active soldiers, North Korea ranks among the largest standing militaries in the world. Almost every family is connected to the military in some way. The state prioritizes soldiers, missiles, and nuclear facilities over comfort, luxury, or even basic living standards. Military parades roll through Pyongyang with goose-stepping precision, showcasing intercontinental ballistic missiles that claim the ability to reach the United States. Whether all of them work perfectly or not is debated, but the message is clear: we can strike. And we are not afraid. Then there is the nuclear factor. North Korea's greatest power is not its economy, technology, or diplomacy. It is its nuclear weapons. A small number compared to global superpowers, yet enough to change global calculations. Every missile test sends shockwaves through international markets and security councils. This is asymmetric power at its finest. North Korea knows it cannot compete with South Korea in wealth or innovation, so it competes in threat perception. One launch, one warning, one speech from its leader can dominate global headlines for days. But power is not just about weapons, it is also about sustainability, and this is where cracks appear. North Korea's economy is heavily sanctioned, tightly controlled, and extremely limited. Electricity shortages are common. Internet access is almost non-existent for ordinary citizens. Most technology is decades behind global standards. While the state controls information tightly, the cost of maintaining such a militarized society is enormous. Soldiers are many, but equipment is often outdated. Strength exists, but it is rigid, centralized, and fragile under pressure. Now look south across the demilitarized zone, and the picture changes completely. South Korea's power is quieter, but deeper. It does not march, it flows. It flows through smartphones, ships, semiconductors, dramas, and diplomacy. South Korea's military is smaller than the North's, but far more advanced. Precision-guided missiles, advanced fighter jets, cyber warfare units, satellite intelligence, and one of the most sophisticated command and control systems in Asia make it a modern fighting force. Add to this the presence of the United States alliance, with joint drills, intelligence sharing, and extended nuclear deterrence, and the balance shifts dramatically. Economically, the difference is staggering. South Korea is one of the world's top economies, home to global giants like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG. Its GDP is dozens of times larger than that of the North. This economic power translates directly into military readiness, research, innovation, and resilience. In a prolonged conflict, South Korea can produce, adapt, and recover. Power here is not just in the punch, but in endurance. Technology might be South Korea's most underestimated weapon. Cyber capabilities, artificial intelligence, research, drone systems. and space technology give it a battlefield advantage that is invisible but decisive. Wars today are not only fought with tanks and soldiers, but with data, satellites, and algorithms. In this domain, South Korea is light years ahead. And then there is soft power, something North Korea almost completely lacks. South Korea's influence spreads through music, movies, fashion, food, and culture. K-pop concerts fill stadiums across continents. Korean dramas shape global trends. This cultural power builds goodwill, alliances, and influence without firing a single shot. It strengthens diplomatic leverage in ways missiles never can. Yet, despite all this, South Korea lives with constant vulnerability. Seoul, a megacity of over 25 million people, lies within artillery range of the North. In the opening hours of any conflict, damage would be catastrophic. North Korea does not need to win a long war. It only needs to cause massive disruption. This reality keeps tensions frozen in a dangerous balance. So who is more powerful? The answer depends on how you define power. If power is the ability to scare the world, disrupt stability, and force attention, North Korea succeeds beyond its size. If power is the ability to innovate, sustain growth, build alliances, and shape the future, South Korea dominates completely. One uses fear as a shield. The other uses progress as armor. The most fascinating part is that neither side truly wants war. North Korea uses weapons to ensure survival. South Korea builds strength to prevent conflict. Both understand that a full-scale war would be devastating, not just for them, but for the entire region and beyond. And so, every day, the standoff continues. Soldiers watch through binoculars. Missiles sit in silos. Diplomats exchange warnings. Markets react. The world holds its breath. This is not just a comparison of two countries. It is a comparison of two philosophies of power, one rooted in control, secrecy, and fear. The other built on openness, innovation, and global connection. History will decide which lasts longer. Until then, on that narrow line dividing the peninsula, the silence remains louder than any explosion. Because in Korea, peace is not the absence of war. It is a carefully balanced tension, maintained by power on both sides, waiting to see which vision of strength will define the future.